Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm here at Furman BMW in Palm Harbor, Florida, and lo and behold, we have it here first. This is Furman BMW's first 2019 BMW Z4. This one is the sDrive i30. Let's talk a little bit about BMW. Here's a little quiz question for you. What does BMW stand for? Do you know? BMW stands for Bavarian Motor Works. And from that designation, there's been so many decades of not only performance from cars, but also motorcycles and their early start in airplanes. So BMW's been around since 1916 with the whole airplane industry. In 1923 is when they created their first motorcycle, and then in 1928 is when they created their first car. And it sort of makes sense because think about it, World War I, terrible war, Germany obviously involved. 1914 and 1918 was that war. And after the war was over, people needed cheap transportation. And that's where the motorcycles come into play. And then eventually by 1928, the cars. So that's a little bit of history about that. Let's talk a little history about this car. So the Z4 is that top-down roadster. They actually haven't made a Z4 since 2016. If you know your Z designations, first there was the Z3 back in 1995. Now that car was a competitor more to go up against the Mazda Miata. With the introduction of the Z4, things changed. And if you wondered why they call it the Z, Z actually means future in the German word for designating this car. So kind of a little interesting fun fact with that. Now, since 2016, a lot has changed. BMW has worked a little bit with Toyota together to design this car because remember, 2020, the Toyota Supra is coming out. This car is on the same chassis. And what's interesting is that the car is actually wider, it's actually longer, but the wheelbase is actually shorter. And that's what's gonna give it that very aggressive stance to it. What's also interesting is that if you know your BMWs, they recently came out with the new 8 Series, and this car takes a lot of that styling language from that whole series. So we're gonna start to see a lot of blending of this type of style in many different BMW vehicles because guess what? Over the next 11 months, lots of new cars coming from Bavarian Motor Works. Let's go ahead and dive into the front of this Z4. So love, like I said, automatically that aggressive look to it. Great headlight housing. I like the way that they have the headlights positioned inside the housing. You could see that traditional halo running light that lights up when you're driving the car, or obviously when the headlights are on. When we drop down here, this part is just pure aggression. Now, this is actually a fake vent, which I'm gonna zonk that, but if Tom goes ahead and shows you what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna channel air from the front fascia down the side there. So we'll give it a zonk for this being fake, but there's a functional air vent on the side to help channel air down the side of the Z4. I really like this lower lip spoiler that's all built into the whole front fascia of the Z4. Let's talk a little bit more about BMW history. So there is the logo. It's an old wives' tale that means spinning propeller blade. For many, many years, people thought that because of BMW's heritage with airplanes that designated a spinning propeller. No, it doesn't. These two colors are actually the Bavarian flag. And remember, we're talking about the area known as Munich, Germany. So that's what that's all about. Here's another tradition in the BMW lineup, the kidney-shaped grills. Now, these grills are starting to change in overall shape. Some people are calling them the kidney butterfly grills, but you'll notice that they're still there. Something new on the Z4, check out the style of the grill inset of the kidney shape. It's not your standard slots that are vertical. We have this other, almost like a diamond design, star diamond design, and it actually really works on the front of this car. I'm glad that they went flat black on it because with the gloss around there, I think it just fits perfect. Same thing down here. We have some more venting. I like the way that they went gloss, and then all the way across, you have a nice cohesive design, and I'm sure within the next year or so, they're going to come out with an M version of this, and you're going to see even more aggression hitting the front of this car. As we go up onto the hood, one of my favorite parts of this car. I love the body lines. You can see the angles run their way back. Nothing too raised and nothing that's too obnoxious. It really just is pure, classy, top-down fun. Another thing you're gonna wanna know about this, with the outgoing Z4, which the outgoing Z4 had a bunch of crazy lines, this one actually has a real convertible top, cloth convertible top. They did that on purpose because the old one, it had a folding hard top, which was great if you don't like cloth, but this is lighter because with this car, it's all about the driving sensation and the driving experience. Speaking of this one, this has the M Performance package on it. One of those things that you're gonna get with the M Performance package are these 19-inch wheels. Totally love these wheels. Gloss black, love the design. There's our M logo. Now remember, M logo is that whole motorsports of BMW. Love that they were able to bring those two things together. And with the San Francisco metallic red paint, they work perfectly. I really, really think it was just so smart to make such a beautiful wheel for a beautiful car. As we continue down the side, you could see some of those lines. With the Toyota Supra, with where the hood comes down and all that. That is something, like I said, you're gonna see some connection with the Supra and this car, but you're not gonna be able to get a convertible Supra. As we come down the side, I absolutely think they hit the nail on the head with that side vent. Just check out the size of it, the way that it has some nice style to it, and it is functional. So that is gonna channel air. I love the way that it just pops out on the side, and that's another BMW trademark, is having that side vent on the car. And you can see, we already put the top down, which I promise you, we will put the top back up just to show you what it looks like, but just a clean, classy look. And even though it's longer, wouldn't you agree with me that the wheelbase, remember the wheels are a little bit shorter together, that's gonna make the appearance of it being more athletic and more agile. As we come to the rear, I really, really love just the way that the taillights wrap around. And here's one of my favorite parts. Look at how they go from wide to nice and slim and trim. LEDs, of course, you got your reverse lights, and then you also have these rear vent areas back here. Now, I can understand, I'm not gonna zonk it. They're not functional, but they're not too obnoxious. And I think that the way that they went wider with the rear of the car, this was a smart move. Without this, I think it would look a little extra fat in the back, where you really don't want all of that heft appearance-wise being dragged to the back of the car. But there's our Z4 badge, that BMW badging. Like I said, this is the sDrive, the 30i. So in next quarter, we're gonna see the model, the Z4 with the straight six. This one has an inline-4 turbocharged engine, but trust me, even the inline-4 packs a nice punch to it. But I know, and you know, that I know that we're waiting for that straight six. Exhaust, love the rear diffuser. I like the way they went with a gray rather than just gloss black. And then you have a very tasteful twin outlet exhaust on both sides. Really, really think that was smart. Here's our reverse light. Obviously, these are gonna be the LED turn signals, and a nice, clear third brake light here. Very well done. I'm ready. If you're ready, let's go check out underneath the hood and see what we're working with this BMW Z4. All right, guys, here we are underneath the hood. First of all, check out the size of the hood on the Z4. That is a large piece of metal there. But once you open it up, there is our inline-4 turbocharged engine. Let me tell you a little bit about that engine in this particular Z4 30i. So what you're looking at, that's a 2-liter turbocharged 4. Horsepower, you're looking at 255 horsepower. But guess what? The thing that really moves the car, torque, you're looking at 295 foot-pounds of torque on this car. That's a lot of torque out of a 2-liter engine. When we talk about overall weight, this car, remember how I told you now we have a cloth top? This car weighs in at a very light 3,287 pounds. There is gonna be that inline 6-cylinder that's gonna have 382 horsepower, if you could believe that. But both you get with the ZF 8-speed transmission, and you're looking 0 to 60, 5.2 seconds. If you're wondering, well, what kind of MPGs can I get with this engine setup? You're looking at 25 in the city, 32 on the highway. And this is what I like to see. I'm glad that BMW went with 2 engine choices rather than just the straight 6, gives people options. And then I think at the end of the day, it was very smart to go with that cloth top to get extra performance and extra feel from the driving experience. But if you're ready, I'm ready to fire this up. Let's go ahead and fire up the new Z4. All right, guys, time to check out inside the BMW Z4, and I'm telling you, this is really a movement in the right direction for BMW with this car. I just love the way it's laid out. Let's go ahead and get to the door panels. Very nice the way that they broke up the black, the sea of darkness that could be on a door panel. They had that beautiful white leather, and I really like the touches of the brushed aluminum around the door handle, around the switch work for the lock and unlock. You could see that there's memory settings for the passenger and for the driver, so that's an extra nice touch as well. As you transition from that door to the dash, all soft materials, just like on the door, you have the soft material with the contrast stitching, soft material all over the dash. I like the way it comes in very nicely. You got gloss black around the AC vents, and then I'm really digging what they've done with the screen setup. So you have a LCD for the dash, and you also have an LCD display for your infotainment. What I really like about it is that you can actually just use the screen, and what's nice is that when you first get in the car, you think that the screen's too far away from you. It's not. You can actually touch it very easily with your hand, or you could use BMW's sDrive system, where they have that very nice knob feature here that allows you to twist and turn to get into different functions. So if I go on car and I press down, let me go back real quick. So if I go back to home, if I go on car, there is our Z4 finished in San Francisco metallic red. You could go into your driver status. We could see the tire pressure monitor, engine oil level, it says okay, all different features, service schedule, all that kind of stuff, all from the touch of your hand, whether you're using it on the dash or whether you're actually coming up and using it through the system. And trust me, the manual that comes with this, it's thousands of pages long. There's so many different functions and all that with that kind of system that you really have to buy the car to understand and enjoy it all. I like what BMW has done with the switch gear for the AC controls. So you have your AC controls here. You can see how you have this really nice looking digital display, obviously dual climate control. You have your heated seats, which you're going to be able to access right there, very easy to get to. I like the design of the air vents and very nice switch work on it. It really is excellent. Here's your radio controls. Very simple, very clear to understand, because obviously you're going to be getting everything from the screen. You don't need a bunch of junk down here. Now we're on the center console, and I'm loving this. I love this aluminum finish down here. Very nice touch. Look at how they have the Z4 logo there. We slide that open, and then you're going to have USB, you have wireless charging, you have a 12 volt, and when you're done, you're just going to slide it right back, nice and clean. Here is our little command center. You have your BMW iDrive with its assorted buttons and knobs. This is what's going to be controlling that German-built ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. You can shut off your traction control, turn on your traction control, 3 different modes. Sport, as we go back to the screen, we have Sport, we have Comfort, and then we have Eco. So you could actually select different features, and that's the thing that's going to happen, is this car is going to change its demeanor depending on what mode that you're in. And obviously if you're going down a nice fun twisty road, you're going to want that in that nice sport mode. Love the softer material around the aluminum, and then we get to the armrest. Very soft to the touch. If you're wondering how do you open it, you press that. There's our bomb bay doors. You have a little cubby in here with another USB and 2 cup holders. I'm going to zonk this for being the cup holders just because you're going to have that open, and it looks a little I don't know, a little cumbersome that way. But I have to give it to BMW. This is just pure sexiness and so clean from front to the back. Speaking of sexy, these seats, not only are they supportive, they look good, and they're ready to hold you in. So you have some really nice bolstering up top, nothing too aggressive, and then you have a little bit on the bottom. I would like to see a little bit more bolstering on the bottom, especially if you're going to take this down a twisty road or do a track day, which guess what? People are going to want to do this with this type of performance car. You could obviously adjust this electric seat every which way to fit the contours of your body, and I really like the way they put some personality. They could have just kept this bland, just straight up leather and nothing else, but I really, really love the setup of what they did with the stitch work. And then of course, with this being a two-seater, you don't have to worry about any rear seats or anything. You have a nice little pass-through right there if you want to get into the trunk. Really nice idea. But why don't you come on over to the more important side, the business end, and I'll show you behind the wheel. Come on over. All right, guys, inside the brand new Z4, wonderful place. Obviously, top-down fun is great when the weather is perfect, but when weather gets a little rough for you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put the top up, and it's real easy, one switch functionality. You just pull up on the switch, and real quick, the top comes up, that tonneau cover swings back. And what's really wonderful about this is that you don't feel super tight in the car, which is wonderful, because sometimes with convertibles, it can get a little claustrophobic. I'm 6 feet tall and still plenty of room. When the weather is sunny again and you want to party with the top down, real easy. Windows slide down, top goes down, very seamless, not noisy, and very, very quick. Plus, it's got that ultra clean tonneau cover, which is wonderful. Let's go ahead and come on inside. As soon as you come in, you have the beautiful M badging here, because remember, this does have that M performance package to it. It isn't a true M car, but it does have, like I said, the wheels and some other niceties, the seats and whatnot. Steering wheel, I love the shape of the wheel, perfect thickness. It's got the M logo on the bottom. You have your paddles behind the wheel, which is going to allow you to go up and down, that 8-speed automatic transmission. And here's really one of the biggest, just most fantastic things of this car. Check out that dash there. You have your tachometer, you have your speedometer on the left, fuel, temperature, and then you could actually transfer. What you're seeing in the middle there is the navigation. So if you're going somewhere and you want to have that navigation right there in front of your face, you don't have to keep looking over at the center stack. It's all in that real nice functionality. To go through different modes, you have nice thumb wheels and switches right on the steering wheel. Nothing too obnoxious, which is really nice, but overall just a great feature. And you can see even going down to the pedals, they put some nice brushed aluminum for the dead pedal, the brake and the gas pedal. Very nice touch. And those are the things that all add up into a cohesive package. But if you're ready, let's go ahead and pop the trunk and see what kind of space that you have on a Z4. All right, guys, time to get into the trunk. Before we get in the trunk, let me show you the new Z4 key fob. I love the design of it. I love the way they have that BMW logo, and on the side, you have the motorsports colors. Very, very nice. As we get into the trunk, we just push down on the button, and then we're going to lift on up. Here's one of the biggest surprises of this car is the trunk. So we have the top down, and you can still see how much room you have for golf clubs, your luggage, whatever you're going to use this car for. Plenty and plenty of room. If you're going to use it as a daily driver, you could go get your groceries and have it in the trunk area, and there's plenty of space for even more stuff. So maybe you could go swing by Costco and get some big, buckets of mayonnaise or ketchup and whatnot. But that's a nice thing to see, because a lot of people are going to take this car and they're going to go on that road trip and they're going to want to have fun, but they need to bring a change of clothes with them, and it's nice to see. But if you're ready, I'm ready to take the Z4 for a spin. Let's go do it.
Guys, we're leaving Furman BMW. We're in the brand new Z4 Roadster. Right away, just love these seats. If you're wondering, well, what is the MSRP on this Z4? You're looking at an MSRP, the way that it sits, $59,000, and that pretty much has all the bells and whistles with that M4 package and just all the niceties, the wheels and everything. Got the top down, side windows are up. You don't get a ton of air inside the car, which is nice, but just enough to let you know that, hey, you're in a convertible. You got a really brilliant looking heads-up display, very easy to see. It tells you what the speed limit is, and it also tells you what your actual speed is. Pulling away, very smooth. 8-speed automatic. Shifts are very crisp, very nice. Let me go ahead, I'm gonna put it in, make sure we're in sport mode here, because that's, I try to keep all the cars the same with what mode we're in, but even just driving nonchalantly, looking out the window, it's got a great view. And out the back, obviously with the top down, it's a snap. Side mirrors are a great size. You have all the safety features on this car. We're gonna go ahead and pull out here. Nice little burble from the exhaust, nothing too obnoxious. Remember, with almost 300 foot-pounds of torque, it is gonna get you going very, very nicely. Let me go ahead and get on the loud pedal here. Drops down. Really smooth. I like the way that the car just has a nice, and almost like the way it's gripping the road is just really perfect. Steering has a great feel, and overall the sound coming into the car, I'm sure you're able to pick up just fine what I'm saying on the GoPro. So you can have a conversation in here with your passenger so easily. If I'm gonna zonk the interior, off the bat, I would like to have ventilated seats. I know maybe that sounds a little weird in a convertible, but you know what? On a hot summer day, it would be nice, especially in Florida, to have some ventilated seats. But just everywhere you look, the fit and finish is great. And just really, really a nice sporty GT ride to it. That's really how I can compare it. It's like a grand touring type of car in a smaller package than what you're used to. Looking out over the hood, I like the way the hood has just a slight curve to it, but it's mostly flat, and you can see visibility perfect out in front of you. The dash, clear. You know, I was a little concerned about the infotainment screen. There is a little bit of glare on the infotainment screen here, but nothing too bad. But right underneath the hood, where your gauges are behind the wheel, it's very easy to see. We're gonna go ahead, once this light turns green, I'll show you a little acceleration. Remember, the wonderful thing about this is rear wheel drive. Fun top-down car. Here we go, rolling on the throttle. 0 to 60 in about 5.2 seconds. The shifts are a little slow, but still, once you get building up that speed, you're able to break the speed limit very, very quickly. As always, you can use the paddles. What I like about the paddles is that they're a little inward. They're not all the way to the edge, so it actually helps when you're gripping the wheel and you go to hit the paddle like I just did. It's not hard to reach. Over the bumps, on some of the bigger bumps, it's a little rough on the ride, but we are in sport. Remember, you hit that comfort button and you go right into comfort mode, and you have those active dampeners which are going to soften up for you. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back into sport. I just took the stick and I put it over into manual shift. So right now we're in manual shift mode, and I'll be able to give you an idea of what the shifts are like by using the paddles. If you look in the lower right hand corner, it actually tells me M1, that's manual. I'm in first gear. All right guys, so we're going in the Z4. We got it shifted. There's a little bit of pop when you hit the button. Brakes feel good. Second gear, right hand bend, very smooth. On throttle. This is what the car is for taking it on a nice curvy road, enjoying a nice sunny day. When you're using the paddles, the gearbox really comes alive. In automatic mode, like I said, they're a little slow on the shifts, but in manual mode, I'm in 5th gear right now, and it just comes alive with a very quick shift. Is it as quick as a DCT? No. What I would like to feel though is a little bit more from the front end. There's something getting lost in translation there when you're going through the bends. But overall, it's very planted, and you are getting a good amount of feedback. I just would like a little bit more. I'm gonna be a little greedy with that. On the brakes feel great. Very nice. I mean, the brakes are great. The transmission in that manual gear, like I said, is very smooth. You get just a little bit of burble. Now, what I would like is in sport mode, especially with an M package on it, I would like maybe just a little bit more sound. Just a little bit, nothing too much more, because you are hearing it. Now, what's funny is if you're hearing the sound clip, it almost sounds like it's super quiet and you're not hearing anything. So that's a little surprising that you actually get a little bit more while you're inside the car, which I'm sure, you know, through the speakers and whatnot, there's some simulated sound going on, but I'm enjoying it. You can hear the downshifts. It's crazy how much attention you get in this car. Remember, this is brand new, just being released to dealers this month, and then later we're going to see the inline six. Very smooth though. On a smooth road, this car rides so perfectly, even in sport. I like the difference between sport and comfort, because when I put in comfort, you know, the throttle isn't as sensitive and whatnot, and you can feel it absorb the bumps a little bit more. But even in sport, it does a really great job, and you can see how it raised. Immediately when I went into sport, I'm back in automatic mode, it raised the RPM so that you can get a little bit quicker getaway when you accelerate. All the safety features, lane keep assist and all that, as I drift, it'll straighten it back up. So that's the nice thing about this car, is you're gonna get all those safety features that keep you being able to go out and have fun and make it home in one piece. And you get a car that's gonna really stand out and is super unique. Especially now, because you can't find them anywhere, but they have them at Furman BMW, that's for sure. Go ahead and put it back in a manual, fourth. Change gears on the throttle. So even for a 4-cylinder turbo, it's quite surprising the actual oomph that you're getting from that engine. Remember, and a lot of that has to do with the car only weighs 3,200 and something pounds. So you're barely looking at under 3,300 pounds. So it's going to be light on its feet. And I'm glad that they went with a cloth convertible top. Really, I'm telling you, this digital display is one of the best. I like the way the navigation's in the center. That's a really nice setup, the way that they have it there. All right, guys, so we're gonna make our way back to Furman BMW to wrap this one up. Hopefully you got a good taste of what this Z4, the all-new Z4, is all about. Stay tuned, because we will be having that straight six turbocharged engine in the next Z4 as soon as they get them at Furman BMW. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
All right, guys, it's been a wonderful day here at Furman BMW. I definitely got to give a huge thank you to both Alan and Bob for having us come out and getting this all-new 2019 BMW Z4. If these are the types of cars you like to see on Raiti's Rides, leave a comment in that comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Check out my different forms of social media. You know what they're called. It's all Raiti's Rides original content all the time. If you want to get yourself some Raiti's Rides merch, click that link in the description. Takes you right to Spreadshirt. And then, of course, we can't forget the man of the hour. Listen, he gave up some gym time to get down here to Furman BMW to help film this. So thank you, Tom, for all your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.